Hello ladies and gentlemen, Meoni here to talk to you about Final Fantasy XIV A Realm Reborn, and more specifically the open beta weekend that has since closed this previous Monday. In an effort to be as frank and as honest with you, let's make sure we look at all critical aspects of the game in detail. So let's show off some screenshots whilst we do this. This is however all I can do at the moment, as the game is strictly under a no video streaming non-disclosure agreement with the launch of the game officially on the 27th of August. Lest I remind you, this is a strict NDA enforced less than 1 week prior to the early access of the game for pre-order customers, and less than 2 weeks from official launch. Think of that what you will, but obviously it presents a few issues with publicity and indeed free marketing, which streamers and indeed YouTube directors usually provide for games for free, which is rather invaluable at rough launches, especially for a title such as Final Fantasy XIV A Realm Reborn, which is basically a remake of a failed game. And this is my first real concern service-wide. Many people have wondered if this is like their way of attempting to cover up a terrible game until launch, or whether this decision is unfortunately a return to the calamity which was Final Fantasy XIV 1.0 and the service that they provided, and the game's original implementation, which was not exactly very good. Safe to say, however, in short, A Realm Reborn is an actual playable MMO from what I saw in its current state. The similarities between 1.0 and A Realm Reborn do halt there with the service side, as the game itself is, well, largely good actually. The reshuffle and indeed firing of staff, ideals, redesigns and everything like that you can imagine behind the game's front cover art and overly impressive cutscenes has been redesigned from the ground up. Class systems feel more fluid than before, nicer models are here and more polished animations and textures and locations feel more unique and detailed, unlike the copy-pasted areas and tiles from 1.0. Dungeon Finder is a welcome, familiar MMO staple, allowing for instant dungeon queuing. Dungeons themselves have been further refined and changed to be more intuitive and manageable, instead of the labyrinthine maps previously presented in the game. The game itself follows this feeling on, being more user-friendly with a large tutorial section, which is helpful for newcomers and most likely disabled by veteran players. Largely, the reason for a more tutorial, newbie-driven game presentation is down to the game's server system and indeed cross-platform notoriety. Combining North American and European players on the same server group, for example, is one of their decisions. But that's where Square Enix went a step further, letting PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 4, indeed when it launches, players play on the same servers as PC gamers, which is an interesting decision, and remains to be seen how well that is implemented. From what I saw in the beta, it was fairly fluid, to be honest. A lot of people said that the controller and the setup of the controller and the controls therefore mapped to the PlayStation 3 controller actually work really well. A lot of players are preferring using a controller in certain situations, and a lot of players are, obviously familiar with the PC keyboard and mouse archetype, which has been present in MMOs for a very long time. I honestly think this is a sort of like the first stage of basically more and more MMOs being cross-platform. A lot of games have been weary about trying this. I know World of Warcraft said that it wouldn't really translate well to the console market as well. However, I think Final Fantasy has a bit more of a chance of being a success, considering there aren't many competition efforts on the PlayStation itself. I mean, there are games that you could probably class as MMOs, but nothing true MMO RPG like Final Fantasy. So indeed, the game was brilliant to play. I really enjoyed the beta weekend, and I'm indeed looking forward to the early access, which starts on this Saturday at 10 AM GMT, so I'll be there. Unfortunately, I can't stream anything or indeed record, well, I can record stuff, but I can't publish any videos until the 27th of August, which is in a couple of weeks. Unfortunately, that restriction is still happening, which, like I say, is a bit of a problem, really, in presenting a few limiting factors for making videos on this game. But rest assured, you can be sure to check out all sort of guides to everything. I'm going to do full dungeon runs, everything you can possibly imagine Final Fantasy XIV A Realm Reborn related on the 27th of August onwards. So indeed, things that I got up to on the beta, there was all sorts of things. I leveled myself a Gladiator to 15 and an Arcanist to 15 because the class job archetypes aren't exactly presented. Nobody knows for sure what the jobs entail. The job system is essentially a superclass that relies on 2 subclasses to be of a certain level. For example, a level 30 Conjurer, such as myself when I actually gain level 30, and you were supposedly going to combine that with a level 15 Gladiator. But it has been since sort of questioned that it might be changing from Gladiator to that of Arcanist. So I leveled an Arcanist to level 15 too, which indeed we had access to play for the first time in any of the beta stages. I was in the previous closed betas, until now I couldn't have mentioned that. But yeah, it's really quite interesting. I feel that the class system is one of the more redeeming features of this hotkey-based MMO. And indeed, the storyline itself is quite polished. There's a lot of really nice interactions. It seems nice and smooth, the leveling experience. For like an alt class, you have to level basically through fates, dungeons, and leftover quests, and it feels a little bit dumbed down, but you do get an experience bonus, I think, of 50% or more to help you level those. And indeed, if you're unfamiliar with a class-based system, essentially you can be every single class and every single profession on one character, and basically what determines what class you are is what weapon you equip. So sort of think Guild Wars, but you know, not Guild Wars, and actually works. And you've got a sort of decent sort of idea. So yeah, there'll be lots more content from me on Final Fantasy XIV A Realm Reborn. These screenshots are really cool. I had a lot of fun, found myself a really nice little guild, the LostFateMercs. You will find a link to that in the description. If you intend to play this game, come and join us. We are on the Ragnarok Legacy server on launch, and indeed we were there on open beta. So indeed, thank you very much for watching this video. I hope some of this has been interesting to you. There is lots to discuss, lots of guides and lots of information. And this is really my entry as to say that I honestly think this game has a chance, not of competing with big games like World of Warcraft, but indeed having a chance of surviving long enough to be a successful subscription RPG MMO, which in today's climate is quite interesting. So without further ado, I will leave you with the last few screenshots, and I will see you next time for another video. Indeed, check out AceGamesTV, subscribe for more each week, and indeed the fun starts on the 27th, but it starts even earlier if you've got early access. If you are interested in playing with me, and you are indeed rolling on my server, let me know. My name will be Meoni Whitetail in-game. Add me to your friends list, etc. And I'll see you there. Alright guys, see you later. Look at that crab, isn't he huge? And that sunset. Oh, I just want to play again. So jealous of that.